Yes, Broncos country. The Broncos need to fix their run game, period. It is a non-negotiable for this offseason. In an offseason where I think we've done such an unbelievable job in terms of bolstering our defense, finding a tight end that is going to make this room a lot better and provide a really great weapon for Bo Nix and Evan Ingram. We still have one big problem that we need to address. I know we're going to address it in the draft, and I'm excited to see who is going to be a part of that solution. But man, do we need it. And guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not, man. I'm close to that 1,000 subscribers. I need it before the draft. So if you're a subscriber, thank you. Tell a friend, have the friend tell a friend, and keep that going. It would mean the world to me if I could get to 1,000 subs in 3 weeks before the 2025 NFL draft. So getting into it, guys, the Broncos last season, when you look at how they finished as a rushing offense, right? We finished at 16th at 112.2 yards per game in rushing. Doesn't sound all that bad, right? But that's because we had a quarterback that contributed heavily to the running game. And in a lot of situations, it was great. It was cool to see the athleticism, and I loved it. But you cannot rely, and you should not rely on your quarterback to be a big part of your run game, period. It should not happen. If you eliminate what Bo Nix did as a runner for this team, the Broncos go from 16th in the NFL, and this is yards per game rushing, okay? So they go from 16th to 31st. Second to last, if you just take Bo Nix away. So that is the kind of impact that he had as a rusher. Now, I know you look at it and you say, well, he's a part of the run game, and that's a really important piece of his game. Sure. No, it definitely is. But it should be a very good complement to our run game. It should not be the run game. I mean, he was the second leading rusher on this football team last year. Well, I'm sorry. He ended up being the third leading rusher at the end. But he was the second leading rusher for most of the year, and then at the last couple weeks, Jaleel took him, and Bo Nix broke his back, and he was still the third leading rusher, and he averaged 4.7 yards a carry, which is higher than any of the backs by quite a bit. We need to fix it, and there's a lot of players in the NFL draft that can do it, but it's not just going to be something that we fix in running game with a running back, right? A running back is not going to come in, and he's going to be the only one that's going to be the fixture. It's going to be helpful because it's going to make Sean Payton better as a play caller and being able to dial up very specific runs to get very specific looks so that he can continue to get the offense going. But Sean Payton needs to be better too. There's a lot of times where I feel like he didn't believe in it at all, which is understandable, but he just completely abandoned it. And even in the games where the running game was actually looking pretty decent, the one that comes to mind is the second Chargers game that we ended up having on Thursday night. And our offensive line overall is very, very good. Top 5 unit in pass blocking, top 5 unit in run blocking. But we did struggle a little bit when you look at a specific metric that covers, yards before first contact. We were good, but we weren't as good as what the other stats show for the NFL for the offensive line. We were kind of middle of the road when it comes to that. So a running back, a very good running back, competent, can help us out a lot. But we could still use a little bit more firepower and juice. And I think that we need to look heavily into addressing the interior of the offensive line, specifically at center. I think we can get better there, especially in pass blocking with Luke Wattenberg. I think we can get somebody that's a little bit more of a road grader and a mauler that can play interior part of the offensive line. But in addition to that, I feel like I look at them and say, you got to think about the future too in this draft, because you've got Ben Powers, whose contract's going to be basically up next year. I mean, we can get out of it. And then obviously your right tackle, Mike McGlinchey, too. So swing tackle in this draft, developmental tackle in this draft, I think is very imperative. And then an interior offensive lineman, somebody that can come in and really compete and push. Just blanking on his name, man. Push Luke Wattenberg in terms of being better. And maybe they give Alex Forsythe, because Alex Forsythe was actually, in my opinion, I think he's a better run blocker than Wattenberg is, but he struggles a lot more in the pass game. But as we can see, man, with good coaching, some seasoning, getting these guys in the NFL training programs, interior offensive linemen can make really big strides in terms of the overall, in terms of like just how good and effective they are. And I think we got great coaching. I think we got a great health and strength and conditioning staff. You look at Wattenberg. Wattenberg came in as a rookie. He was awful, horrendously bad. In the preseason, he was terrible, and then he came in and had to play a few snaps during the regular season, he was just literally on his back the entire time. Looked a lot better in the second year, but still was not all that good. And then his third year, he really popped off, and I think he was solid, average to maybe slightly below average when it comes to his center play. But there's a lot that got to go into it. But I think it starts with the running back position, obviously, and the way that the coach is calling, offensive coordinator. I mean, our head coach is calling the plays, and Sean Payton, he's got to be able to look at ways that he can get more creative and be a little bit more consistent. I also noticed something that's a little bit, I don't know if it's concerning or if it's really common, but the Broncos are basically 50-50 when it comes to zone schemes versus a gap scheme. I don't know if that's consistent with what Sean Payton's done in his career in New Orleans, but as a running back, that could be a little bit frustrating because, maybe you like zone more, maybe you like gap schemes more. Now you kind of have to adjust on the fly, and that kind of helps get you out of a rhythm too. But there are definitely backs that can go out there and do it. It's the reason why I'm kind of starting to be a little bit, higher on Caleb Johnson. It's not really saying much because Caleb Johnson does come from a true pro-style offense running under shotgun and under center, but they ran a lot of zone. But they did run a little bit of gap scheme. A couple other guys, I think Ohio State ran a pretty decent mix of both as well. But anyways, I just want to make this video because we need to fix this run game. We all know that, but when you really dive into it, it was bad. It was very bad. And when you have a bad run game, it is almost impossible for you to be a legitimate NFL contender. Almost impossible. You're putting way too much pressure on your defense and your quarterback and your run game. You're not really controlling the clock like you should be. That was the biggest issue that the Broncos had last year, is that we could not sustain drives, therefore leading for us to not really be able to control the clock. You don't control the clock, you're going to lose. It's a big thing in sports, man, and any sport. The clock is always more important. You look at the Nuggets the other night, right? The missed layup wasn't the problem. The problem was that he didn't dribble out and try to take more time off the clock, then eventually get a foul. Because the clock is going to be the most important thing. Changes everything. That's all I got, y'all. How would you fix the Broncos running game? Where would you start? And what's a realistic expectation? Do you feel like if the Broncos got specific players in this NFL draft, that they could become a top 10, maybe top 5 rushing unit in the NFL? Let me know what you think below and why. All right, y'all, take it easy, man. Take care of yourselves. And until the next video, y'all make sure to peace out.